Soldier of Christ reporting for duty. How's it going, everyone? Hope everyone's doing well and staying safe. Today I wanted to talk about something such as, dealing with sort of like rejection as a Christian. I actually have a story that I'd like to just jump right into because I think it ties in well with that. So about 6 weeks ago, I was hanging out with one of my friends from high school. I knew this dude since freshman year of high school. And, we were just at his house, we were chilling, whatnot. And I remember that it was right after my graduation, because I graduated 6 weeks ago with my bachelor's in marketing. And, we were just hanging out and, talking about it. He hasn't graduated yet. I actually graduated a little early for my age, but, we were just talking and we were actually watching the Cartoon Network Garfield Show on Netflix, and we were just joking around and laughing at that. And I remember he got a text, and he got a text from he got a text from this guy I knew since preschool, and he was I knew him for so long, since preschool, and he was one of my friends too. And except him and I grew apart. We'll call that guy Carl, and the guy I was hanging out with, we'll call him Jeff. So, Carl, haven't seen him since high school. Actually, he reached out to my friend Jeff because he wanted to hang out because Carl recently graduated as well from college. And, he asked my friend Jeff if he wanted to, hang out at Applebees to kind of celebrate his graduation. And he said, if he would like to do that. And then my friend said, no, I'm sorry, Carl, I'm hanging out with Darius at the moment. Would it be cool if, if Darius was able to, come with? Nah, I don't really want anyone outside of like robotics to hang out, because there was like a robotics club that Carl, Jeff, and a few others were in, but I knew what he meant. It's I'm not really the most observant person, but I understood that he meant like, no, I don't want Darius to come, but he wanted to do it in like a more diplomatic way, which I understand. But that kind of hurt because I knew this dude since preschool. We used to be like best friends in middle school. We went to the same middle school. And then in high school, I remember he kind of like drifted away, which, there's nothing really wrong with that. It just kind of hurt at the time. I remember in ninth grade, we would be in the same classes, and, what friends do is always want to be with, the friends that they knew for years. They'd always want to be in the same group together, whatnot. He would always kind of like try to drift away. I'm like, he's like, oh, no, Darius, I'm going to go work with this dude for now. I'm like, no, oh, okay. It hurt, but I try to be like, civil about it. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll find someone else. And I remember from that we didn't have any classes really after freshman year together, except in 12th grade. We were both in this program called ETS, which means Educational Talent Search. And essentially what that it was for more of like the students that did well in school. So him and I performed pretty well academically. So we were allowed to be in that program. And I remember, all of a sudden in 12th grade, he started coming around and wanting to sit next to me and stuff. Sometimes we would working within groups, sort of like within that program and whatnot. And he, that kind of weirded me out because it's like, he had nothing to want to do with me before. Why would he now? Does he want to be my friend now or something again? And I remember it wasn't because I found out it wasn't because he wanted to be, my friend again. It's because, I was like the person that he was pretty much closest to before. It's like I was his second option, to be in a group with, to be friends with, because I was the person that he still knew best within that sphere of the program. And that really always hurt because I thought Carl was one of my bros, but it turns out that it just ended up turning out that he I was his second option. And oh, I remember this was a few years ago too. I went to Jeff's graduation party, and he invited all his friends, and I was really uncomfortable because there was a lot of people from high school and stuff, and I was like so depressed at the time, and it's like, Darius, it was a pool party, like, Darius, come on, let's come swim with us and whatnot, and I was like, I'm not too interested. And I was very depressed at the time because after high school, I didn't feel like I felt directionless. Jeff's mom came up to me and was like, come on, honey, jump in the pool, go play with your friends. I've always been someone that wanted to like give a good impression to like my friends' parents and whatnot, but even then, I didn't do it because I was so depressed at the time. And here comes Carl out of nowhere saying, hey Darius, hey buddy, jump in the pool with us. So I'm like, maybe they do want to be my friend. Maybe he does want to be my friend again. It ended up like I ended up leaving later, and I remember, it sounds like maybe he didn't want to be my friend again. But but just that was a few years ago. But the thing I was talking about 6 weeks ago when I was with my friend Jeff, and then Carl texted my friend Jeff. It really hurt me that that he actually doesn't want to be my friend. But I just feel really rejected, and it hurts. But that was a bit of a long story, so I guess I should jump into the message now. But what I wanted to say as far as like rejection, I actually have a verse that I'd like to turn to. So if you have your Bible with you, please turn to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. It speaks, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. So even though to others we might be rejected because in that context, between kind of like Carl rejecting, like kind of indirectly saying, Darius, I don't want to be your friend anymore. It's sort of like that's what hurts. When people reject us, especially like that might hurt, but like I know there's might be like a lot of young people that might watch this channel, and it's more of like it suffers from rejection, maybe from not just friends but like parents, romantic interest, something such as that. And when we get rejected, it's more of like it hurts because a lot of times it's like we put our value and trust into that person, and when they like reject us, it really like tears away at our self-esteem and whatnot. But something we have to keep in mind is that people are overall they're very inconsistent. I think I've said this in a previous video, but sometimes I work very hard for my YouTube channel, but sometimes I'm like, oh, this would be such a good idea, and then it ends up like I find it like just a week or so later, like, oh, this is stupid. Why did I think that way? Like I thought something. I might think that something in the moment might be funny, or pretty like I might think of myself to be intelligent to have that in my video, but then later on it's like, oh, that's stupid. Darius, what were you thinking? And whatnot. But we're not supposed to put our faith, we're not supposed to put our trust in men. When we do put our trust in men and our faith in men, it's like we're putting our eggs into a basket, all of our eggs into a basket, except the basket, it doesn't have a bottom. So when you put your eggs in there, it will just fall through and all the eggs will crack open and break. Along with that analogy, God, he will never change. He will always have infinite wisdom in any circumstance and at any time, and he will also love you and will, especially like care and appreciate when you're working for him and when you're doing his will. And God, He won't, unlike people, He won't betray you. When things get tough, a lot of people actually call on God when things get tough, and He comes in and He saves you. And that's another thing. It seems like when you're like at your lowest point, and you're asking others for help, they don't they might not necessarily be around to help you, but they just want to see you when you're down, because when you get knocked down and other people see that, it makes them feel good, because maybe they might have had envy for you or some sort of jealousy or whatnot. Of course, that's not the case for everyone. They don't wish what's best for you, because they're selfish people, and they only care about seeing the failing of others, because they're too concerned about wanting to look successful themselves. So I highly recommend to not put your faith or your trust in men, but to put your faith and trust in God, because when you do God's will and when you go to work for Him, He will never reject you. That's all I have today. I hope it was you know somewhat of an interesting video. Uh, Please consider subscribing if you might like content similar to this. I also would appreciate it. Maybe you join my Discord down below. I'm not always active on it, but I love to see new people pop in and new faces. Always brightens up my day to see that. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Soldier of Christ